Hi everyone, hello. I hope all of you are doing well. My name is Shriya Bansal, and today we will talk about a new problem which is based on the topic advanced constructs objects. Okay, so what we're going to do is first we're going to take a look at the problem statement, then we are going to figure out an optimized way to solve the particular question, and then to test out that if our algorithm suggested for that problem is correct or not, we will implement the logic and see if it is giving the required output or not. Okay? Alright, go ahead and let's take a look at the problem statement. So the question says that you need to write a program to remove duplicates from the array. Okay, so duplicate means repetitive elements in the array, and there can be as many repetitive elements as we want. So you can see that in the input, the elements given are 6, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, and 6. And here you need to remove duplicates, or in other words, you can say that the array should contain only unique elements, correct? So that is why in the output you have received 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6. Okay, let me give you a few more examples for better clarity. Let's say if I have 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3. So in this case, the output will be 1, 2, and 3. Alright, why? Because here 1 is repeated, 2 is repeated, and 3 is repeated. Okay, so the unique elements are just 1, 2, and 3. And don't assume there is any ordering of the elements. The input array could be like this as well. So in this case, the output is going to be 1, 5, 3, 2. Again, even the output that you are giving can be in any order. It's just that the final answer that you are returning should always have just unique elements, and no element in the resultant array should have duplicate elements. Alright? So that's the most important thing that you need to care about over here. Okay? Alright. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can solve this question. Okay? So what happens is, in this question, let's assume a given input 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 6, 5, and 5. Alright, you just need the unique elements. So if somehow I can have a place in which, for all elements, I have the element along with their frequency. Okay, then in the end, I can just take out all those elements, right, which have variable frequency, and then I can have the answer. Okay, or in other words, what I'm trying to say is, I don't about the frequency, correct? One element could have 5 frequency, or one element could just have 2 frequency. Still, only one occurrence of element will be in the final answer. Okay, so in this place, something called as objects can be very, very crucial over here, because we will be storing the information in a key value kind of a pair, right? And then here the key will be the element and the value will be the frequency. Again, you can apply a different approach as well, where you're not really storing the frequency, right? Probably using sets. That's perfectly your choice. Any approach you would feel like comfortable, you can implement it, right? But here we are going to solve the question using objects. Okay. So what I will do is I will create an object. Okay. Let's say object test. Okay. And initially, the object will be empty. Okay, so initially the object will be empty. Okay, so now what we are going to iterate over all the elements of the given input array. Okay, so what I will do is I will have 1 over here, right? So 1 is the element that you will check if it is present in the object or not. So the third step here is for each and every element, first check if it is already present in the object or not. Okay, so what we will see is that 1 is an element which is currently not present in this object. So what I can say is I can add 1 over here with the value 1. So this key over here will be the element, and the value over here will be the frequency. Since I am seeing an element for the very first time, it is not already present in the object. That is why its frequency will be 1. Now let's move ahead. Now I have 1 again, right? So 1 is now already present. So if an element is already present, that means you just need to increment the frequency. Okay? Next we have 2 over here. Now 2 is not already present in the object, and I'm sure everyone knows that in this case you just add 2 with the frequency 1. Okay? Now we have another 2 over here. Now this time the 2 is already present, so just increment the value so far stored. Then we have 3. 3 is not already present, so add 3 with 1. Next element 3 is already present, so increment 3 with 2. Next element again 3, which is already present, so add increment. Then we have 4, not already present, so add 4 with 1. In the end, here 4 is again there, so I will increment 4 to 2. Then I have 6 here, not already present, so I will add 6 with a 1. Okay. Then I have a 5, right? Now 5 is not already present, so I will add a 5 with a 1. And then again there is a 5 present, so just increment this. Okay. So now what you will see is by the time you have iterated over this entire array, right, in the object that you have taken into consideration is storing at all ends here the keys, okay, and here the frequency for all those keys, right, and all the values are correct. 3 is indeed present with the frequency 3, 4 is indeed present with the frequency 2, 6 is indeed present with the frequency 1. Now what you need in the final output is just this. Correct? Now think about it for a minute. Do you know of a function which basically can give you all the keys of a particular object? Okay, I would recommend stopping the video for a minute over here and thinking that if I have been given an object and if I just require the keys of that object, is there something that exists that can directly give us that answer? Okay, so basically if I have the keys over here, I can say all the keys of this object is my final answer, right? So if you remember, there was a function called object dot keys, okay, and inside that you put the object name, right? And this function basically gives you all the keys of an object stored in an array, right? So this was what the trick about. There can be a lot of brute force approaches to solve this question, but once you figure out that you have something called objects, so store your information in a highly optimized manner, and by calling just one function over here, you can directly fetch your answer in an array. That's what the entire power for this question is, right? And that's what was expected from this as well. Okay, just to reiterate on what we've done, we are basically iterating over the entire array, right? We have initialized an empty object as well. Then we are iterating over each and element of the input array, right? And checking if it is already present in the object or not. If it is already present, so there are two scenarios. If it is not present in the object, right? Then what do is you simply just take the key, or you just take the element rather, whatever was the input array element, and you put 1. Okay, otherwise if it was already present in object, then what do is you take the element, you take its current value that you have, right, and you do a +1 to it. Okay, so whatever was the value for this currently, let's say there must be some value which was existing, you just do a +1 to that value for that particular key, and you keep doing it, and in the end you simply do object.keys, and that will give you your final answer. Alright, now let's go ahead and quickly implement this as well and verify if our logic is correct or not. Okay, so I'll write a function remove duplicates. Remember, for each and every function that you are defining, you need to add a function in the start for that. Alright, now the input array is being given to you. Let we initialize an object over here, okay, which is like an empty object here, which will help us to find and store everything. Now we are iterating over the input array. We'll go to the end of the array, right? And then what we will do is we will check if in the object that particular element, ARR of I is the element, right? If it is present or not. So there are two scenarios, right? If it is not present, you go to else, and what you do is for that object, for that key, right, you basically assign 1. Or what you do is for that object, right, at this place, what do you do is whatever the value was, you just increment it. +1, or you could have just done this as well. Okay, so whatever the value initially was, just increment it by 1, or otherwise put it as 1. Okay, now in the end what you simply need to do is you need to return your answer, which is nothing but object dot keys over here obj. Okay, and I think this should be good. Let's take an input array. If you want, we can take the same example over here only. Alright, and we can do console.log, and inside that we can call the duplicates with ARR. Then we go to view, terminal to run our code. We run this file, and you can see you have all the unique values in the output. Correct? If you want, you can also see what the object looks like, just for better clarity, if it is what you expected it to be or not. And see, this is what the object looked like. 6 had a frequency 2, this and this, so that is why 6 is having the value 2, right? 2 is having the frequency 2, 3 is also having the frequency 2, and hence everything has been updated over here, and based on that we just picked the green values, which are keys. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for you to understand how we need to solve the question, right? We've just followed a very simple approach: initialize an empty object, right, iterating over all the elements. In here we are basically incrementing the value of the key, okay, and here setting the value of key as 1, okay, and that's it. In the end you just need the keys, and that is enough. Alright, okay, so I hope I was helpful in solving you this question, right? And please go through and implement this on your own as well and see if this works for you or not. Okay, thank you so much for taking a look at the question. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
कान से सुनो, अभी हमको आवाज नहीं आना चाहिए।